Usually, when I'm riding in transportation or just walking down the street, I listen to music with headphones on. And it's not that I hate listening to the sounds of the world around me. No, it's just that I can't do without music. Especially when there's a lot of it and it's different. It's often better than the noise of the subway or the street. And I don't always want to hear people talking around me. Most of the time they talk about something completely uninteresting or stupid. Sometimes, though, you do manage to hear such a rare epic that you are glad your ears were free at that moment. That's what happened a couple weeks ago. I was on my way home. It was late at night. As I was getting off the subway, my phone rang and I had to take my headphones off and throw them in my bag so they wouldn't get in the way. And when I finished talking on the phone, it became, no, not that I was lazy, I just decided that right now, at this very moment, I would be better off without them. I walked to the bus stop. There were two women standing there, and they were talking animatedly about something. I sat on the fence not far from them and began to look at the people passing by. I had to do something before the bus arrived. And somehow I realized that I was paying attention to what the women were saying. As I understood from their conversation, they both work as nurses. They were saying something about old women, about prescriptions and vacations. I was about to take my headphones out and go back to the music when suddenly one of them said to the other, "Hey, did I ever tell you about the dead guy?" "The dead guy? Where do you get a dead guy in a note house?" asks the other one. "Well, we had him, but when he became a dead man, we didn't have him." I liked this wording, so I decided to listen. "Anyway," says the first one, "the story is just creepy. Comes to us in May, a man, 46 years old, at the bakery, some engineer. He says that since childhood he has been afraid of clowns. As soon as he sees a clown, he panics. And he said that he started having the same dream, as if he was walking along a fence at night, and a red-haired clown pounced on him and killed him. Victoria and I decided he was neurasthenic, so Victoria prescribed him Dipakine and amitriptyline at night and told him to come in once a week. So he came in, complained that he was still dreaming about a red clown, even though he shouldn't after the amitriptyline. We thought we'd give him a stronger prescription, but then he stopped coming." The other woman laughed nastily. "What? Cured?" I noticed the bus was coming, but I wanted to hear the rest of it. I decided that if the aunts get on the bus, I'll follow them. If not, I'll wait for the next one. The first aunt laughed back at the second, but less nasty, and said, "No, he stopped coming to us, so we thought that he might be busy with work or gone somewhere." And then, 10 days later, a cop comes to us. Victoria and I weren't surprised some drunkard had stabbed someone again, and they always come to us to ask about our records. But no, the cop is asking about this guy. He asks to tell us what he told us and why he came. Victoria tells him that it's doctor-patient confidentiality. We have no right to tell him, and she asks why he wants to know. And the cop says that our man died. He was found murdered in the street, blunt force trauma to the head. A week ago, he was walking home at night past some bank, and that's where they found him. His wife says he's been scared and restless lately. And the cop says they need to know what this guy was telling us, if he was complaining about being intimidated or threatened. There seems to be almost no marks, just some red synthetic fibers on his clothes and around the place. He said something about red fibers, and it made me feel bad, as I remembered what the man said about the red clown. And I look at Victoria, and she winks at me, and I think I get it too. So, Victoria says she'll tell me what our client came with. She told the cop about the clown, and he immediately turned pale. I asked him, "Man, are you sick?" And he says, "Yeah, a little." I poured him some water. I thought I'd give him something to drink, but he said, "Don't need anything. I'll show you one thing." Another bus passes by. I think, no, I'll definitely listen to it now. And the ladies are waiting for the trolleybus. They'll be waiting a long time for it. Anyway, he says they have a video from the camera at the bank where our man was slapped, and he says he'll show you the printouts now, see what you think about it. He pulls out a stack of photos. One's an empty street, the other one. It's night, a fence, a house. At the bottom is the time stamped. Then he shows a picture of our client walking. And then he says, "Look, what do you think about it?" He shows the next picture. There's our man, and next to him, gal, I don't even know how to say it. A clown, in short. A big clown in a suit, with shoes and a wig, and a hammer in his hands. The next picture, our man was already lying on the asphalt, with blood all around him. This one, from the police, said that he had been hit on the head with a hammer. Who, why, it's unclear. But the clown gal, can you imagine a clown? It's just like this one complained. I'm puzzled. Very puzzled. I see the bus coming, I think I should go. I've heard everything I can. I get on the bus, I take out my iPad, and I start writing down all this nonsense. And at the same time I'm thinking, what the hell, comrades? Here I could sit perfectly calmly in headphones and not hear this madness. Or I could sit without headphones at an empty bus stop. But why is it that as soon as I got to a bus stop where there were people there, those people immediately started talking about some kind of insanity? Oh, I should have stopped wondering about that a long time ago. At the moment, I live in the apartment alone. My wife is currently on a business trip. I have an ordinary 2-bedroom. Yesterday, when I came home from work, I was tired. I had a quick dinner and went to the bedroom. I'm a cautious man and always lock the door. As soon as I touched my head on the pillow, I immediately switched off. I woke up to a knock on the bedroom door. My wife must be back, I thought in my sleep. I looked at the clock. On the dial froze numbers 2:22. And then it hit me like water that my wife would be back only in a week, because she had called me yesterday and said that she would be late for a week. Meanwhile, the knock on the door became stronger. I jumped up sharply, turned on the night light. I grabbed a chair with shaky hands, and through the door crack I saw a shadow. There was no light in the hallway. Suddenly the knocking stopped and there was the sound of breaking dishes in the kitchen. Before I could think about it, there was another knock on the door, and this time someone was scratching at the door, which reminded me of the sound of a cat's claws. I didn't understand what I should do next. I wanted to call the police, but suddenly the lights went out. So I'm standing there with my cell phone in my hand and I see the bedroom door open. But it's impossible because it was locked. Behind the door stood a man in an ugly clown costume, his crooked face blurred in some wide, wild smile, yellow fangs sticking out from under his lips. He stared at me with frantic eyes as I threw a chair at him and threw myself at him. The last thing I remember was his stinking mouth opening. I woke up on the hallway floor. There's a broken chair next to me. On the door, among the words I couldn't understand, I saw the word bored. Yes, I don't know what he wanted, but this kind of game is not my type. It all started when I was a kid. My mother took me to the circus. Everything was fine at first, until the moment that ruined my life. Me and my friend came too close to the stage. There was a clown. I will always remember him. He came up to us and did something, alas, I do not remember, either smiled or did something. In general, I was scared, I want to say. I was 5 years old by that time and fainted. Years passed. I forgot about that incident, and nobody took me to the circus anymore. But then the dreams started, cruel and bad dreams, which ruined my psyche completely. In this dream, a clown came to my house, took a meat cleaver and chopped up all the furniture around, and then came up to me and said, "Bow down or be thrown in the oven." This I remember very well. I had this dream for about 6 months. I told my parents and they took me to a psychiatrist, diagnosed with coulrophobia. No medication, nothing against it. At the sight of a clown on the street handing out balloons, for example, I get a panic terror. And I feel like killing him. But I know how wrong that is. Once a year ago, I had a dream that this clown, I call him it, from the movie It by S. King, killed a family I knew. 2 months later, she died in a car crash. As usual, I was on the internet until morning. At about 4 a.m., I get a message in ICQ and I have an anti-spam bot. Since it writes, "There will be no spam," but I was wrong. A contact under the nickname Dead Clown writes, "Look, isn't it funny?" And a link to a picture. I hesitated, but curiosity took over, and this was the beginning of my worst nightmare. When I clicked on the link, I saw a photo of a clown hanging without arms and legs above the circus dome. I felt creepy, and wanted to vomit. And then came a message from the same contact, "Well, how do you like my picture? Now you're gonna hang like that." And then the contact deleted. I tried to add it, but to no avail. The contact doesn't exist. Thinking that I had overstayed my welcome, I went to bed, as suddenly from the next room I heard footsteps and wild laughter. The laughter reminded me of the voice of clowns. I could build a house of bricks then. I crawled under the blanket as I suddenly heard a child's voice above me. "Here I am. Bibi wants to play with you like they played with me at the circus." I was wildly frightened and decided to hit and run, but no one was there. When I sat down at the computer again, I saw on the desktop a picture of the clown killed in the circus, but no matter how hard I tried to change the screensaver, Windows gave an error, and I decided to spend the night at my father's house, but the front door was closed, and I could not open it. Suddenly I heard rumbling and crying. The crying was childish, as if a baby had been abused. Asking who is here, I only heard the following: "Why? Why are you all with me? After all, Bibi just wanted to play and you." There was crying. Pity took me and I decided to hug him and noticed that he had no arms or legs. I was horrified, but it was too late. The TV came on. So hello and straight to the news. This morning the body of a brutally murdered boy was found hanging over the dome in the circus without arms and legs. Who could do such a thing? No one knows. No traces of blood, no fingerprints, nothing was found. And in other news, the TV turned off. "Well, children, Bibi wants to play with you. Turn around, because I'm right behind you."